I've PTSD, clutch PTSD. Having begun my journey as a complete novice, I rode my motorcycle across North America before hopping over to Europe. From there, I'll make my way across Asia and down to Australia. New Zealand's southernmost drivable point will mark the end of my journey. I'm calling it the Big Spiral, and this is Act 4, a lap of Ireland and the United Kingdom. Good morning. Let's put the clutch in. As you probably know by now, I've had some clutch issues. I replaced the clutch once, it slipped, and then I put a new one of the same brand in, just with different oil, and it still slipped. And so now I've got stock clutch plates to put in, and I'm going to put them in now. First thing I'm going to do is drain the oil and replace the oil filter, because that oil filter probably has 2 clutches worth of clutch particles in it, so I'm just going to replace it. Let's get going. All right, so I drained the oil, got a new filter in. The next step I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna strap down the wheel to the swing arm. I found that's the best way. And I'll just remove this kind of mud guard. All right, I've got it all strapped down pretty good. Time to take the clutch cover off and that big bolt in the middle. All right, let's see how easy you can break this big bolt loose. I think I've gotten better at it. Yes. I'm getting better. I've improved since Alaska, that's for sure. All right, I just gotta take the springs out now, and then we'll start putting it all back together with the new parts. All right, so now that I got these clutch plates out, I want to measure the height, how tall they stack up to. Just curious. So it's supposed to be between 30.3 millimeters and 30.9 millimeters. So let's see. Yeah, so it's actually still within spec. Technically, the clutch should not be slipping. And so I even put stiffer springs in that EBC sent me, and it's still slipping quite badly, actually. So I have no idea. I just imagine these friction plates are no good, I would guess. I have no idea, really. But I'll assemble the new ones I have, the stock ones, and measure them and put them in, and hopefully my problem is solved. This is very confusing what's going on here, so I have no idea. All right, let's measure this new set. 30.7, so it's a bit wider. All right, so it's time to put the springs in. I don't have the stock springs yet. They didn't have them in stock. So I'm gonna put the EBC springs in, the ones that came with the kit that failed, but there's a little bit of doubt about those springs. So I'm gonna mix them with these stiffer springs from Barnett. I think they're for like a, what do you call them, a KTM? It's for some kind of older KTM. They're really stiff, so for now I'm gonna try 3 of the EBC ones and 3 of these. All right, springs are in. Honestly, I'm getting kind of nervous because it's kind of drawing to a close here, and I just want it to work. And I'm just like double checking everything I'm doing. I'm so paranoid. I'm like looking at the labeling on the oil, like, oh, is this the right oil with the right friction modifiers? I'm like double checking on Amazon, like, yeah, it's the right oil. I've PTSD, clutch PTSD. But okay, let's keep going. One thing I did do is buy a new gasket for the surface here, and I didn't mention it, but I also replaced this nut because it's been on and off so many times. I just a little paranoid too. All right, it's all back together. I'm actually really curious to see how the clutch lever feels, if it's too stiff or what have you. All right, let's see. Oh, it's not bad. Because the springs are fairly stiff, I thought it was going to be really heavy. It's not bad at all, which makes me worry. But okay. All right, so there's one other little mod. I've already installed it. I'll tell you what the problem is, and then I'll show you the solution. So basically, I want to be able to run a tank bag here and move some of the weight from my case up to here. And previously, these lines came out like this. And so I was afraid that the tank bag would like foul on the lines and basically, cause them to, pinch or whatever. So I got these kind of 90-degree connector things. So they just kind of pop on like that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it actually. It looks like it should be there. So the next step is to find some kind of tank bag that will hold some camera gear and be somewhat waterproof, I guess. So, but I still got a bit of time. I don't really need it straight away, and yeah, it's just step by step. So, anyways, maybe we should try out the clutch and at the same time bring this oil to the recycling center. All right, let's head to the tip. Okay, clutch is working. I'm moving forward. Okay. Just gentle at first. In case you're wondering, the tip in the UK, the tip is basically the dump, what you'd call the dump in North America. But it's a bit beyond the tip now. It's like the recycling center. So yeah. So far so good. But it's really take a bit of time to really figure out whether this is okay. I'm not sure if there's any big highways around here. I'll have a look on the map after we go to the tip. Oh, it's a little awkward. In the UK, they do like a head tip to greet each other on the motorbike, like it. And sometimes it's just like you do that and you get no response, or some people are like they're not sure if they're gonna get a response, so they just do like a little one, like it. But I also feel like the head tip is like it's like kind of like that, you know. But oh well. All right, arriving at the skip. You must have a free permit. Oh, just for vans or whatever. Oh. Hi. I'm not local.
Right, you can only use our site if you're from Bradford Council, household waste sites.
Okay, do you know where I can, I just have like 1.5 liters of oil. Do you know where I could take that?
Yeah, just up at top there, Tom.
Top? Alright. Okay, thank you. Okay, he let me in. That's nice. Waste oil, used engine oil. Oh, great. Yeah, let's get on the dual carriageway. I don't know what the difference between a dual carriageway and a motorway is, but let's just get on and see. Okay. I've skirted the system. Okay, let's get on the dual carriageway. It's fun to say. Much more interesting than highway. I have to say, I don't know if it's just in my head, but the clutch feels more positive now. It feels more positive for sure. I don't know why that is, but when I mean positive, I feel like it's just grabbing harder. Who knows? It might just slip. At this point, I just kind of expect it to slip. So, okay, this is the dual carriageway. Seems good so far. Yeah, it's not slipping, but it might take a couple days. Can you tell I have trust issues? Okay, full throttle. Yeah, it seems. Well, it's been fixed, but I don't know how long it's gonna last. So I don't believe it. Well, I'm feeling somewhat more optimistic about the clutch. It just feels like it's grabbing harder than the last one did. I got a refund from EBC for one of the clutches. I kind of feel like I should be getting a refund for both, but I don't know. I talked to a guy named Gary, and he was a lot more helpful than the first two people I called. Actually, I called three times, and the first time they really did not want to talk to me, but I think it was closing time. But yeah, the first two, I think they just kind of, the first guy's like, oh, you use synthetic, well, that's the problem. And then the second time I didn't use synthetic, and there's still a problem. I think I don't know what the problem is, but I'm feeling optimistic about the stock one, and so I guess we'll see in the coming days how it fares. But yeah, it already feels better to me. So this is not the end of this video. I was looking at some footage from when I did my valve check back in Bathurst, New Brunswick, and it came to my attention that I was not looking at the correct line in the service manual. And so I actually, at least the exhaust valves were out of spec at that point, which is quite some time ago. So I think tomorrow we'll head out, and I got some valve shims on the way, and we'll just service the valves. Okay, see you in a second. Hi. All right. So it's the next day. I want to check my valves because, well, I was editing a video the other day about me checking the valves, and I did not do it properly. So I know at least the exhaust valves are out of spec, or probably still are. So I need to check the valves and probably change the shims that change the spec, I guess. I'll explain it all in a second. But the first thing I need to do is I just need to take the tanks off to be able to access the top of the engine. So this is all like a kind of nerdy stuff, but I'll try to explain it as clearly as possible. All right, so I got the tanks off. The next step is to take the valve cover off. And once I get that off, then I can start to measure everything. Gotta take the fan off too. All right, let's see if we can lift this out. All right, I got the valve cover out. It's always a little awkward and tight because of all the cables and wires in there, and you kind of have to shimmy it up, but it worked. So we're almost ready to check. I'm just going to set, you have to basically set the engine in the right position. It's called top dead center. Basically means the piston is at the top of the cylinder, and that means everything will be in the right position. I'll kind of explain it. All right, I think we're set up to set some measurements. The engine is at top dead center, so that means the piston is at the top of its stroke. So basically you have two cams in here, and each of these cams have these, it's called a cam lobe. So basically as this rotates, it's pushing down the valve underneath. So the valve is opening basically the combustion chamber. So this side is letting exhaust gases out into the exhaust, and this side is letting air into the engine. So basically I want to measure the gap between these cams and basically effectively the valve underneath. So let's see how that goes. Now the exhaust valves and the intake valves have a different set of clearances, and I've written them down here. So I've got the spreadsheet that will do the math for me, but the minimum clearance in the exhaust valves is 0.15 and the maximum clearance is 0.24 millimeters. So basically the way you measure this is these little metal shims, and they're all different widths and thicknesses. You can see they're quite narrow, quite thin, and basically you put them in between the cam and the valve, and they're called feeler gauges. So you kind of just feel if they fit or not, and if they fit, then you can kind of deduce what the gap is between the valve and the cam. So this shim, I don't know if you can see that, is 0.15, and basically I'll just put it in between the cam and the valve. Okay, so it does not fit, so that means it's too tight. And then I'll put it on this side. Yeah, does not fit, too tight. All right, so my next one is 0.1 millimeters, so 0.05 millimeters thinner. We'll see if it fits. Okay, it does fit. It feels tight, but it does fit. And then we'll check the other side. That one fits as well. So since 0.1 does fit and 0.15 doesn't fit, I'll have to put 0.1 in my sheet. I have no feeler gauges between those sizes, so basically it's just a bit of a guess, but it was feeling quite tight in there, so I'll put that in the spreadsheet. All right, so I'll put 0.1 in, and same here. All right, so now let's do the intake side. All right, so we'll start with 0.15, and we'll just slide under the cam here. Okay, so that doesn't fit. And then we'll do the other one, and that does not fit either. All right, so now we got 0.1. See if that fits, and it does fit. And this side, yes, it does fit. So if I measured correctly, the exhaust side is about the same as I measured last time, but the intake side is a little tighter. So we'll put that in the spreadsheet now. So 0.1, 0.1. So as you can see, the minimum gap is 0.1 and the max is 0.19. So since we know the gap on the intake side is between 0.1 and 0.15, it's still within spec, and I don't think I'll touch it unless I feel really like I want to do this, but I'm just going to do the exhaust side for now, and yeah. So there's a few things I have to do before I can adjust the exhaust side. So basically the thing I need to do is take the cams out, and to do that I have to remove this top kind of piece that holds it all together. This is the other side of the cams here, and this is the cam shaft, and these are the cam gears, and basically this chain is turning these gears to keep the engine in time. And so the trick here is to make sure I don't move these gears. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zip tie this chain to the gear so I can't mess anything up. Alright, so I've zip tied my cams to the chain, and then I've also put in this kind of mark here. So even if these zip ties break, I can still get these cams back where they were. Basically, it's just really, really important that those cams go back where they were. Otherwise, I'm in big trouble. So this job is kind of on the edge for me, but I'm fairly sure it'll be okay in the end. All right, so let's take the cams off then. So basically what I'm doing is there's an order to loosen them, and basically it's quite a sensitive thing. So I just loosen them in the order. There's actually numbers on here. Okay, it's loose. All right, so now this kind of cam holder should be able to come out. Okay, not too hard. And now the cams are loose. So I can kind of pop these out, I guess. Well, maybe I just need to do the exhaust side. So I actually forgot to do something. This is the chain tensioner, so I actually have to release the tension on the chain, and then I can remove the cams. All right, let's see if we can get this loose. I'm just putting all my oily stuff in this bucket, and then we just remove the rest of it. All right, I got the tensioner out. I didn't film it because I was struggling. Basically it fits here and the exhaust is in the way, but I managed to this is rear bolt that's difficult to get, but I got it. All right, so now the cams should be able to come out. There we go. Cool, easy peasy. All right, so now we can finally get to the actual adjustment bit. Yeah, it is a bit of work to get in there, and then of course a whole bunch of work to put it all back together. I'm gonna put you on a tripod for this bit because it's really important that I don't drop these parts into the engine because they are small parts. So I'm just gonna be really careful here. All right, so I have my magnet here, and I'm just gonna, basically there's a cap here, and I'm just gonna use it to remove this cap, although my magnet is it too big? Oh no, it's not. So just be really careful, make sure I don't drop it. And then on the other side of this cap is my little shim. Oh, it came out, I'm happy. All right, so this is the cap, and this is the shim that was inside it. So it's kind of magnetized in there. And basically this is what adjusts the distance between the valve and the cam. And so these are just, you just get these in different sizes. So then, yeah, I've got my shim kit here, and basically it's full of all different sizes. You can see there's numbers on each one. So what I need to do is measure the shim that came out of the engine and then put that in my spreadsheet. The spreadsheet's gonna do the math, and then it'll tell me what shim I should put back in the engine. So let's measure it now. So what I've read is that the engines tend to come with 3 mil shims. So we'll just measure this here. Maybe it's 2.8. Yeah, okay, so it's a 2.8 mil shim. So I'll put that in the spreadsheet. So the measured shim is 2.8. So now it's giving me a size of 2.7. So this makes sense because we want a smaller shim in order to open up the gap. So now we'll go here and find a 2.7 there. And then we'll just double check it. So we'll measure our shim. Oh, 2.5. So actually maybe my gauge is not right. It is a very cheap one from Amazon. So I think my micrometer is 0.2 off. So I think I'm just gonna add to my calculation. I'm gonna change it to 3.0 because that makes sense, because that's what I heard the stock ones are. And then now it wants a 2.9. So it just needs to be 0.1 smaller. So then the box says this one is a 2.9. As it measures as a 2.7. Yeah, okay, so that makes sense. So basically we just want it to be 0.1 smaller than this one. All right, so then I put in the spreadsheet that I plan to install a 2.9 And then the expected gap will be 0.2, which is between 0.15 and 0.24, which will work out perfect, I think. All right, then I'll just pop this on top of the valve. Perfect, fits in there exactly, and then I'll put the cap on. And there's the cap going on. Perfect. Okay, now I gotta do this one here. It's maybe hard for you to see because all this stuff is in the way. But yeah, I'll just pull it out. Hopefully I don't drop it. All right, it's coming out. Okay, so this is the second exhaust shim, and I'm expecting it to measure as 2.8 when it's actually 3.0 because my gauge is no good. Yeah, 2.8. So that's it. Basically the expected stock size. So basically I'm gonna put in get a 2.9 from my kit here, and it should measure as 2.7. Yeah. So basically they're both the same on the same side. So I'm gonna put in basically match. Each side is gonna be matched. All right, just don't drop that in the engine. Cool, and I'll put the cap back on. Okay, that's exhaust done. The intake is still in spec, but it's like right on the edge. I'm not sure if it was pretty easy. I'm gonna do the intake as well and just see what I find. All right, so this is the first intake shim. So yeah, okay, 2.8, which is effectively 3 because my gauge is wrong. All right, so I've already inputted 3 because I kind of expected that, and it wants me to put in a 295, which I think I'll do. So this doesn't show that accurate, but this is a 295, shows 2.8. Yeah, next time I'll get a better tool here. Yeah, you know, I figured while I was in there, I should probably do it. Maybe saves me some pain later on. All right, so this is the second intake, 2.8. So basically 3. So we have to put another 2.95 in. All right, so I've got all the valves adjusted. I've just got to put it all back together now. Should be fine, I guess. All right, let's do this. All right, so we got to get the cams kind of back into their homes here. Okay, yep, back in their home. And then now I got to put this kind of cam, I don't even know what you call it. Basically got to put this thing back on. This is basically holds the cams in place. There we go. All right, so I have to tighten these in a certain order. I don't have a torque wrench, and I'm sure some of you won't like that. But yeah, I think it's just gonna have to be that way. All right, so before we really put it all together, I just want to check that I'm going to use the feeler gauges again and just double check everything. All right, so this is 0.15. It didn't fit last time, and it should fit now. And it doesn't fit. Why? Why is that? Oh, it fits on this side. That side is still tight. This side fits. So I'm checking this side with 0.1. And that fits. And that fits. But 0.5 doesn't fit. So that means previously it was on the tighter end of things, I think. Now let's try 0.1 on the exhaust. Okay, that fits there. And of course that one's gonna fit. All right, so that one exhaust is still tight, so I'm gonna take it apart again and put a 2.85 in instead of a 2.9. All right, so I just swapped the shim on this. This is 0.05 smaller, so my 0.15 should fit now, I hope. Yes, and it does. And this one still fits. Good. And then I'll put 0.2, and it doesn't fit. So I think we are well within spec. Great. Well, a little surprised at the end there. Had to swap one out one extra time, but in the end, I think it's all good now. It's all within spec. So I'll just put the whole thing back together, I suppose. All right, little Cowie's all back together again. Let's see if she runs and if she drives. So I'll just start it first and just make sure everything's good, and then I'll go for a ride. Small little rip. That works. Just make sure there's no leaks or anything. Well, it does seem to be running. I figured just up this way there's like a crazy steep hill, and when my clutch was slipping, it was slipping on second gear up that hill. So I thought, well, I may as well go up there and see. I want to say it sounds smoother, but it seems a little ridiculous. But all right, here's that steep hill. Not slipping. All right, well, I'd say the bike is probably fine. I'm just going to turn around that. All right, and back to the cottage. Well, I think today went fairly smoothly. It's a fair bit of work to do just to access those the shims. But yeah, on my bike, you're only supposed to do it every 12,000 kilometers. I'm definitely way past that. I'm not sure how much the bike has on. It must have almost 30,000 kilometers. I think it's just under. And yeah, of course, I checked it back in Bathurst, New Brunswick at my friend Andre's place. And yeah, I just messed it up there. And even then I was already doing it late. But I think just now that I've checked it, the motorbike's fine. The problem is that when these valves get too tight, basically what happens is you can like burn the valves because they're not closing all the way. So basically the engine's running and you're creating a compression and basically an explosion, and the valves need to be closed. But if they're not all the way closed, then that kind of explosion pushes past the valves and burns them. But anyways, it's so what I'm talking about is so nerdy and so not really what I think most of you are watching for. But yeah, it's just it's something you need to do, and it's not something you really need to do on a modern car. But a lot of motorcycles are generally relatively older tech, and so they need these valve adjustments. The other thing I want to talk about is that the clutch seems, we'll see how it goes, but I just want to defend the company EBC a little bit. Obviously, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but you have to think about it from their side. Like, I'm sure they have a ton of people that buy their clutches and then say your clutch doesn't work because the person who bought it installed it incorrectly or something like that. And I'm sure they deal with that stuff all the time. I think, obviously, yeah, they give me the refund on the one. I think they probably should have given me the refund on both, but I can see why they'd be a little, like, oh, you might have screwed it up kind of thing. And especially the first one, I didn't follow the instructions directly. Although they did say on a phone call later that it's probably not the synthetic oil. So anyways, I'm pretty sure it's good now. I think the next video I'll be going on a much longer ride, and by the end of that day I'll know whether or not it's slipping, just because I know what to look for and I know how long the last one's lasted. So yeah, but yeah, another maintenance video. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, it'd be great if you hit subscribe. And there'll be a video on the screen for either the next video or another video that YouTube thinks you might like. So yeah, I'd love for you to check it out, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.